whether the food on the movie set, that we using in the movie is non-GMO or GMO, it's still in the movie. No matter if the guy over there is kissing the guy or the lady over there is kissing the lady, you're still in the movie, you know. Now maybe, within this movie you playing in, the character you playing like, oh, that's appalling. Excuse me. No, it shouldn't be like that or this and that, as an act in the movie. But it's a movie. I think about, giving thanks to the ancestors with the tobacco. You got a lot of offerings that has to do with, whether it's leaving pipe tobacco out for Papa Legba or certain dark cigars for Goon, Gay Balance Soundy, matter of fact, Baba Luaye. But, and then down to dealing with, the ayahuasca ceremonies and blowing tobacco in the face for grounding and coming back down, and even it being said that the ancestral realm, it's like breathing smoke, like, so that's why we like smoking so much, it's connecting with that realm. As a matter of fact, I think about like Florida water. Florida water has like how we speak on with the food and non-GMO, this and that. Florida water have yellow 28 in it and red 40, and all kind of little chemicals that's considered to not be healthy. But none of that really matter, because matter of fact, we are alchemists. And again, like with our ancestors, with Dylan back in Kemet, it was all about, in essence, what I'm saying, knowing how to quote unquote die, knowing how to transition from out of this physical world, what I'm saying, and more so out of this physical world, aka Matrix, or out of this movie. And it don't matter if, the Florida water got this chemical or that chemical. It's like putting the intention and making it happen, because, the gene, the melanin is like a gene, and your wish is my command, as far as like, how the melanin deal with us. That's why, like, whether, when we healthy, we extremely healthy, and if we choose to not be healthy, we could be extremely bad off. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's very powerful. Like, the melanin, like your wish is my command, and whether you like to say melanin, carbon, but just all, it has a significance from the physical to the metaphysical. You know, the neuromelanin. It all has to do, with the bodysuit. And I have to think of the name, that older video I did about like bodysuits, you know, like with the bodysuits and coming down into this matrix, and how the elder souls, like an old soul, get the pick of the litter on the bodysuits, you know, and you start to see that vibe of, us coming down here into the physical form. And I even been catching the download of, even to the extent of, questioning how much we just spit out, you know, like, of course, we are indigenous, our bodysuits are indigenous to this land. Like, our bodysuits, like I say, it blends perfectly with this matrix, in essence. And matter of fact, you see, to a certain extent, when they talk about the 666, quote unquote mark of the beast, but 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, carbon, aka You know, melanin, and matter of fact, you see that, you know, as above, so below, it's a detoxifying agent in that sense too. You know, when we think about shungite, and when you get a elite shungite that's close to carbon, it's extremely detoxifying. You know what I'm saying? And the melanated beings on this planet have a detoxifying nature on this planet, but also like genies, you know. Excuse me. That's why they made these stories of genies and Pokemon and like the story of Atlantis, where you know these magical feminine like beings got controlled by these masculine, you know, type of beings, you know, these ego driven type of beings, you know, that's all a personification, of energies, you know, and we are just energies personified, again, as above, so below, activating to detoxify, you know, the body, but then also though to realize, waking up and realizing like, hey, also like put it like this, let it be a part of what you feel from your heart desire, as far as like, you know, what you do in this physical matrix, you know, but just knowing that you are in a matrix, and don't let the heart weigh heavier than the feather, you know. Again, like a movie, you know, when I'm gonna go to act in the movie, you know, I'm gonna do my fucking best. I'm gonna have y'all fucking clapping and bowing like encore, encore. But you know, that'd be my last. Like, hey, you know, I'm glad y'all liked it. You know what I'm saying? I'm out. I'm going home. You know, like that's the whole vibe. And some of us like, you know, acting, you know, and some of us done fell in love with our roles that we play in movies, or just liking to play in movies in general. But some of us want to come back and, you know, play in the movie again. While some of us, you know, want to move on from this movie. You know, and it's like with these every 2,400, you know, every 24,000 years, you know, it's like it's like being in the movie, you know, and filming so into what you're doing, so into filming the movie, you know, shit, you even forget that, oh man, shit, you know, I'm so into my, you know, filming this movie and stuff, man, you know, I've been neglecting the family, you know, I've been neglecting the home, you know, I ain't been, you know, at home a lot or going home, tapping into home a lot. I just been, you know, in and when those, you know, 24,000 years come around, it's like it allows for us to have that just more of awareness of life outside of the movie. You know, it's like, oh shit, man, I can't forget about my family at home. You know, I've been playing this movie for a little while, you know, for a nice little minute. Can't get caught up in these roles, you know. And again, you know, having to catch myself, you know, giving in to the vibes of, you know, a lot of things, as far as almost again falling into that vibe of, and more so it was just letting me see that part of me, that people pleasing part of me, and that wanting to be nice part of me, and that, you know, overzealous wanting to save the world vibe, you know, it would just keep being brought up to the forefront, you know, especially working with that Black Obsidian, to just show me like, hey, you know, this is the area that you need to work on. Sometimes you get too blind and overzealous where you gonna fuck around and let your heart weigh heavier than this feather, you know. So that's why, you know, you seen flashes of me kind of seeming kind of overzealous on caring about the, the outside world. And again, though, that's part of why I came down here too. So again, my purpose and what I love to do is tap in to this knowledge, through books and through my own inner akashic, you know what I'm saying, and share with people, you know what I'm saying. That's what I love doing. So it's not me being overzealous and trying to save the world in that area, because that's just me doing what I love, like the bird chirping. I'm just doing what I love, doing what I do, you know. Same thing as I start doing music, it's expression. Like, I love to express myself on different levels, whether it's kind of being comedic and, kind of joking or making music, I love expressing myself in that manner. And that's what my character. Smoking herb, that's what I like to do. That's what But again, we definitely want to be careful and make sure we're not locking ourselves in to this matrix with these vices and overcoming them, and really overcoming them, to where we're not controlled by these, different, just different aspects of the matrix, or what we call vices, smoking, drinking, you know, sex in a like absent-minded type of, vibe where it has no spiritual connection. Like all that, raising out of them. Again, balance, of course, is all about all seven chakras fully, vibing throughout all of them, but again, not being controlled by those lower chakras and that lower nature. Trying to do the old. But again, like with the tobacco offerings, matter of fact, if I'm giving the offering to Marie Laveau, some spicy, she likes some spicy Louisiana dishes, dishes meaning Louisiana food, something spicy. You know, that energy is not gonna be like, oh, that's some GMO peppers, that's some. I mean, of course, not to say that you would add to the effects, because the energy you're putting into it, just off of the energy of, say, for instance, spending a little extra money for something that's quote unquote organic, that energy goes into what you're offering. So from that perspective, you know, yeah, that's gonna kind of give to the offering. But as far as just feeling like, oh yeah, it's organic, this and that, it's just for the energy to interface with what it, and more so for that spirit, and that's especially like with a Marie Laveau, where somebody who actually touch bases on this plane for sure, compared to like energies, because even the ancestors, like Marie Laveau, now her energy is internally, inside of all of us in essence, and especially for those of us who tap into that energy within us, you know what I'm saying? But compared to like a Oshun or Papa Legba, where it's more so just a purely, energy and not necessarily a person that occupied a human body at one time. But again, like I use the example of you want to connect with the spirit of universal, and my soul could be way on the next few higher planes, or wouldn't use that scenario, but just to say, what I'm saying, or I could choose to come back and say, all right, I want to come back to this plane and do some more work and help some more people. Because I mean, some of us do have that, that strength and ability and want to do that. Some of us like, fuck it, we done did this job long enough and want to move, however, whatever for us. But again, you're trying to connect with my spirit. You're gonna leave excuse me. I'm gonna leave out the things that I resonated with when I was in the physical. Let's just say DJ Screw tape, some Louisiana hot sauce, some cayenne pepper, some weed or cannabis, I you want to say. Probably some cigarillos for me to roll up that cannabis, you know what I'm saying? So a little pack of Rillos, and I might even, want you to roll that up and puff on it a little bit so I could, somebody's little spirit could, you know, touch it, interface with it. That's the whole vibe is by you, connecting. And also, again, that's how we activate and deal with these energies within ourselves. Is like these certain offerings is also like symbols for the subconscious, activating energies within ourselves, you know. So by working with that subconsciously, you're going to, something going to activate with dealing with, universal, quote unquote. But also the actual spirit, energy connecting as well. Again, the outer realm exists because of the inner realm. But smoke on the herbs now. Matter of fact, I'm watching this anime, The Seven Deadly Sins, which they popping it off. Spoiler alert. Where they kind of speaking on like it's this holy war, and you got the holy knights, and you could just basically say the holy knights are like the Jesuits. They like these people who claim to be like the holy protectors and stuff like that, but they really the ones doing the fuck shit and starting the war. Matter of fact, behind the scenes, they as a little initiation thing for the new knights, they make them drink demon blood and see how it affect them. Almost like sacrificing babies. Like that whole little vibe. And they get their little strength, and they battling against the seven deadly sins, where they flip the script. The seven deadly skins, the seven deadly skins. Seven deadly skins are really like the again, and you see those this as I was about to say that I was about to say like the good guys, and they try to create that aspect all the time in cartoons and all this, like the good versus there's no good or bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just energy. You know, of course you got one energy that's dealing with something that's more beneficial for a certain aspect than another one. Let's just say it like that. One aspect might be beneficial to your soul, other one more beneficial to your lower nature and the darkness in It's all all us. But yeah, they got that whole little vibe in Seven Deadly Sins. Each one of them with some type of little, like jealousy and this, but they really, the quote unquote again, they're not really the evil people. But you see that vibe being brought up to create that certain battle within our psyche. Again, that's why with a lot of movies, as a little some matter of fact, and that's why dream symbols, and what they put in Hollywood, and again speaking in symbols, our subconscious speaking symbols, but like a shattered mirror. It's like a MK Ultra sign of shattering somebody's psyche. You'll see it a lot in any type of movie dealing with the government, like mind control or MK Ultra, some of that nature. They'll have a little broken mirror as a symbol. Mirrors also represent opening portals in essence. like being an observer of self to a certain extent. But I think about how the Truman Show started. You know, the Truman Show started with a mirror at the beginning. You know, as in, hey, you opening this portal, you stepping in to this realm. Come on in. But again, connecting, with the ancestors. Matter of fact, and two, that's what I wanted to say. How default, you know, when they say, live and let God. How some of us still, smoke tobacco and realizing like why some of us always did probably feel some kind of way about the New Age movement and all these things they, teaching. Because here it is again. Like instead of listening to the last kid in the class, what I mean by that, you know, we know information gets passed down from generation down to generation, and the elders. That's why we look to the elders in our community, because they're gonna have the eldest version, the less tampered with version of that story in essence. What I mean by the last kid in the class was, the little experiment where a teacher might tell one student a sentence and tell that student to pass it down, and then by the time it gets to the last student, it's all distorted. And that new age movement, mostly all religions in essence, you know, uh, with the Bible being 2,000 years old, Quran being 6,000 years old. Shit, they got mounds in Louisiana and artifacts in Louisiana that's 10,000 years old, let alone in other places in the world, you know what I'm saying? But you start to see that it's not about taking the information from the last kid in the class, that new age movement stuff, where they always neglecting the people who came before Plato and Euclid and Pythagoras and Hermes, when Hermes is really Jehudi, you know, which they call Thoth, but Jehudi, or which in essence Jehudi also like the tribe of Judah, you know, David, but that all correlate. But again, if if I continuously act like the elder information don't exist, and I keep playing hard on that and just keep taking out information, before you know it, you look up, nobody won't really realize that, that information gone, kind of like, killing off certain people. Like when I thought about today, like, if Whitney Houston was still thriving at her best, like it would be obvious that, boy, that's one of the best voices you ever heard, But, because she transitioned, a lot of kids, they gotta go and look to listen to her now, because she's not around. And if they don't do that research, because they promoting so and so on TV and this and that on TV and claiming that this is the most best you know what I'm saying? Like, then that'll become the history, you know what I'm saying? Her story or his story, but that'll become the storyline. And if until somebody like, oh well, hold on, like a little kid, like, well, no, I went Google and did my research and saw that Whitney Houston. I saw a video of Whitney Houston. I never heard nobody sing like that. And that little kid not dwelling in the past. That little kid went do some research about the past in relevance to the moment. It's not dwelling in the past. I've been eating like a madman on some Ascension symptom shit. That's where the burping coming from. And eating a little dirty for the body and also for my mental. I was becoming too strict, almost like scared. Like I was becoming a victim of the matrix to a certain extent in that area. Had to, you know, expand. But that's basically all I want to share. Just thinking about the tobacco vibes, connecting with the ancestors. Making sure you're not being pulled down by no earthbound ancestors that's trying to keep you here. You know, that's why it's about us again being knowledgeable. I realized that for myself. You know, like and always getting that download. That's why a lot of times I wouldn't like. I gotta say, my high self would almost keep me from going too far in the astral planes until I started learning better, in essence. Like until I started realizing, like, oh wait, nah, it ain't just go and do this. Like, motherfucker, you gotta protect yourself, I mean, because of course, even though it's, almost like Osmosis Jones, that's why I love that movie. If I was to go inside of myself right now, you know, as a little cell, I could come across things that, again, and I'm like, oh shit. Whether it's a certain food, something chemical from a certain food I ate or something like that, and then that manifests into something outside of me. But yeah, don't let the heart weigh heavier than the feather. Let the heart be as light as a feather. That's where it's at. Roll Tide. I would have to look at the LSU. Go Tigers. How they done made their emblem just the tiger's eye, like the crystal. But nah, it's just that one eye, almost like the eye of Ra, the eye of Horus. It be knowing. It's like CBS. Like Pop said, I got my eye on you. Smoking the tobacco. And that's why, I always do my best to never claim to be, a role model in the spiritual game. Because I always say I'm on my growth too. I'm learning as I go too, I just happen to, get tapped into information. And it may make it seem like, I do way more book reading than I do. But, and with a lot of us, man, this is just shit we grew up on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been telling people, man, I was like small, I was 5. As long as I can remember being able to just ponder shit and wondering, like, why am I even born? Like, why is my consciousness, like, why I'm not my cousin little brother? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, why why I'm even born in Louisiana, why I'm, you know, I used to just wonder where my consciousness come from. I got this point of view from this body. Why I couldn't be somebody who went to school with my mom and daddy. Like I used to, bro, that's where my mind used to be at, man. Still, like, but not in my mind about it though. But definitely. But peace, y'all. Remember, don't let the heart weigh heavier than a feather. Just like an astronaut. Astronaut gotta, take care of, not like an astronaut. Let's not use astronaut. Let's just say if I'm trying to go to the sun, I gotta have a bodysuit that's able to, withstand that heat, and deal with the conditions and be one with the conditions on the sun. And when I get there, I'm not trying to damage my bodysuit. Like I don't have to damage my bodysuit to know I'm not my bodysuit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, all right, shit. Now I still gotta take care of this motherfucking bodysuit. But I know, the real thing is the consciousness in it. You know, and the consciousness in it is everything all around it. All around it, all around me. The center of the universe. But that's the whole vibe. So just because you're taking care of your bodysuit, I mean, however you want to deal with your bodysuit is up to you. You know, and whatever you feel, is your path. Your path is your path. Whatever you're going through, you're meant to go through. That's basically something. Just making sure clearly stated everything. Yeah, everything clearly stated. We all know what we gotta, you know, do to become our greatest version. We all know, what's our strong points. And of course, we gotta know the shadow areas and the not, the quote unquote weak points. Being the whole situation of perfection is accepting that there is no perfection in the sense of the way we, been taught to look at it, like everything perfect. Like, and the perfection is in accepting that it's not that type of, perfection, and that's Basically it. Peace. Happen now. Now to vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.